Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 6570 Family Project podcast, where we are putting aside the power struggles and finding the way to lead our young women toward the confidence, respect, and wisdom that they need to prepare them for the outside world. And today we have a great topic that a lot of parents really don't think about, but is super important to me and a huge part of development, especially of perspective. So, today we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons why it is so important to have multi generational relationships for your kids. And what I mean by that is not just your 10th grader being friends with other 10th graders or your sixth grader being friends with other sixth graders. That is important, but it is really important too to bust out of those constraints and those boundaries and have friends that are younger and older so that we can start to gain a lot of this perspective and wisdom. So, that really is our number one reason right there. Your child will see and hear things from other people's perspectives. Now, perspective is something that we gain along life's path, and we just keep gaining more and more and more. Think about every experience as a new lens that is being put into the great telescope that you view life with. Everyone's perspective is very different. There is not a single pair of people that does or ever has or ever will exist that has the same exact perspective because we all live different lives. And when your child can see and hear things from other people's perspectives, then it broadens that idea for them. And it's not just this is my way or the highway, and this is what I think, and I'm going to throw out anything that anyone else thinks, right? In our teen and tween world, especially for our young women today, it is very easy to walk that line. They are simultaneously being told that what you want is what you should have, and it is your way or the highway, and the heck with everyone else, but also at the same time saying we need to accept and fully embrace everybody. And it's very confusing for our young women. And so when we can hear things from other people's perspectives, especially people that have lived in multiple generations with multiple quote unquote trends and things like this, then it can give so much more perspective to our young women today as to what's happening right now. Because if they're living in the fishbowl of what is happening right now and thinking this is the way it always has been and always will be, then that can be a really tough place when things inevitably change, because we all know that they will. And so hearing things from other people's point of view can kind of break that fishbowl a little bit and help them see things more from an aerial point of view and how things are constantly changing in world culture, in school culture, in child culture, and all of those. So seeing and hearing things from other people's perspectives is gold. And then we have number two, which is wisdom from people who have actually been there, right? Maybe your child is in a relationship and they're all, flustered and they don't know what to do. And you've tried talking to them, but you're just the parent and they don't want to necessarily listen to you. So maybe there's somebody else that they can talk to, someone who has really fallen in love, someone who has really had these experiences and can hear them out, right? Maybe there's something happening in the world and there's conflict in the world and they're feeling very heavy about that. And they want to talk to somebody that has been there during other world conflicts, right? How that made them feel. Maybe they are going through some sort of obstacle, and this other person, no matter what age they are, they have been through that obstacle before. In fact, one of my daughters is very interested in acting. And so we happen to know somebody that is a child actor. And so I recommended getting on the phone with that person. And because this other young lady is younger than my daughter, she was like, I could not get advice from someone younger than me. I was like, girl, she has way more experience than you do. So this would be a really good conversation to have. and it breaks, and through that conversation that we had, I was able to break through some of her resistance to, I am this age, I cannot learn from someone younger than me. I can mentor, I can teach, I can lead someone younger, but I cannot be taught by someone younger than me, which we all know as we get older, that's going to happen a lot. So it's a good thing to start learning early and good conversations to have. So number 3 is reinforcement of your own parenting from others. So in this one, maybe someone or something is happening in your home and there's a little bit of a wall up between you and your child because there's some, maybe the wall is made out of some animosity, some frustration, some embarrassment, some I don't want to do it because I don't want to do what you're telling me because you're just trying to get me to do what you want me to do type of thing, right? I know you, I can hear and feel you all nodding at me right now. So maybe talking to another person would look like, I know this feels hard right now, but they are really doing this because they love you. And I've seen what happens when parents don't do this, and that's not where you want to be, right? So reinforcement of your own parenting, very powerful. Number 4 is others can lift them up in ways that you can't, right? You're so beautiful, is told to you by your husband sometimes. And you're like, oh, thank you, And then your neighbor, who you don't even know as well, says, wow, you look really beautiful today. And you're like, oh, well, thank you. Really? Really? Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. Right. And so getting compliments and really getting lifted up from other people can be very, very powerful. My kids tell me all the time, if they walk in, I'm like, wow, you look really beautiful today. You have to say that. You're my mom. And I was like, well, no, I don't have to say it. And yes, I am your mom, but you really are beautiful today. But I know that if they went out and somebody else told them that they were beautiful, that it would mean even more. So just some cues there to always lift up other people, right? Number 5, you can gain insight of your child from different perspectives of the people that they are with. And that is really key because again, we only see through our one lens, right? Our one telescope, if you will, that's filled with our hundreds of thousands of lenses of perspective we've collected along the way. And so when we're seeing it one way, maybe somebody else that's talking to them and then you talk to them afterwards can see it from an entirely different perspective and give you clarity that you just never knew was there before, right? So what others, you could see what others see, and your children can many times show different faces to different people, right? So you see one side and they're showing another side to somebody else. And so that is another exposure that you can have in order to get to know your child more. And when you're out there and people tell you about your kids, like, I get told a lot, your children are just so polite. They're so grown up. And I do not say that to toot my own horn. What I'm saying is when I am home and there is ruckus and chaos and there is, sister sass and there is all these things happening. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Right. And then I go out in public and, they're still doing some of that, but we're just being our normal goofy selves. And I have someone come up and say, your girls are so polite and so well mannered. I'm like, really? Oh, well, thank you so much. Right. It's hard to see when you're so close. And so other people bring the perspective of backing up and seeing what's really going on. All right. Another one, number 6, is it is more realistic to the real world to have multi-generational relationships, right? Once they graduate high school and they are not in their class anymore, they are thrust into either the workforce or a university setting where there is multiple different ages. And so if we can get them communicating effectively with older generations and younger generations before they leave home, then they will be set up with that much more. Their self-esteem, right? How they value and appreciate themselves will be so much more equipped if we can do that and give them those experiences before they leave home. And then teaching the younger generation. So now I'm specifically talking about younger generations there. It gives them a leadership role, a teaching role, a caregiving role, and it really does keep them young too. It helps them realize when they are, in their tweens and they're in middle school and they're like, oh, I cannot, quote unquote, play anymore. I can only hang out. but then maybe a neighbor kid comes over, or a cousin, or even a younger sibling, and all of a sudden they are doing Legos, and they're maybe even, I don't know, playing with dolls or doing makeup and all these things. And they're like, oh, well, we're just still hanging out. We're not playing, but you know that they're playing. So that's okay. We want them to be able to enjoy all the aspects of imagination and play. Play is so important. There's experts on play out there for even adults. And so we don't want to ever put play on a shelf, right? And being around younger people, that allows them to keep play and active in their life. And then obviously, having friends of the same age is very beneficial because it helps them, because they're going through the same challenges, many of the same challenges, right? They're being exposed to the same things. They have different perspectives from different families, but they can, they're having the same history test, or they are going to the ACTs at the same time. They're having end of year exams at the same time. Those type of things are very, and not to mention, maybe they have grown up with them for a long time. So there's long-term relationships in there too. And then number 9 is learning how to cultivate friendships. If we just gave them the small pool of children or kids or teenagers that are in their class, then that is a very small pool compared to the world. And so when we can teach them how to go out and make more friendships, both older, same age, and younger, then they're going to have that much more practice on how to cultivate friendships. And it really is a beautiful thing. And lastly is independence, right? They don't have to rely on you for all of their entertainment. They don't have to rely on you for all of their guidance. You are their primary guidance, hands down. You are the family architect of, as parents. You are building, designing, and planning with them in the second half of childhood, but you don't have to do it alone. This is the village concept, right? It takes a village. And so they can go out and seek guidance from other people, bring it back, digest it with you, digest it with themselves in their quiet time, and all of these things. So independence is definitely part of that. So those are a lot of reasons right there why it's so important to have those multi-generational friendships. And it all really does come down to growing that self-esteem, like I talked about. And speaking of self-esteem, you guys, May 9th through 14th is the Ignite Her Joy Parenting Workshop. If you have not registered yet, be sure to go and register. It is nellyharden.com/ignite. And this is recurring. So even if this is past May when you are listening to this, that is okay. You can still go on and register for the next one, because this is for people that want to walk away with an understanding of the thought process that your daughter has more than you've ever known before. How much would you love to know her thought process, right? And be able to build that with her. You will be able to have a solid framework you can implement immediately to ground them in, not grounding as in punishment. We're talking about grounded, real self-esteem, not selfie esteem, self-esteem. Okay. Those are two very different things. We've all seen the teens and tweens that are all glum and melancholy and even, depressed looking. And then they put on this huge smile, snap a picture of themselves, and then they go to look at it. And as soon as they're looking at it, it's all glum and sad again, right? And that is not how we want our young women to be, not at all. And then have clarity over why decisions were made in the past and how you can help them make better decisions in the future, and have the tools to guide your daughter toward more joy than she has ever experienced before. This is for all parents that have children, young women between 9 and 18 or on the way there. And I want to see you there. So nellyharden.com/ignite. That is definitely where you want to go. Okay, you guys, that was a great episode today. I hope your young women, your children, all of your children go out and grab friendships and start cultivating those and growing those friendships with people younger, the same age, and older, and even much older than they are. It will be a beautiful, beautiful thing. So next week, we will be back with another episode. And remember, keep teaching, keep laughing, keep loving, and above all, remember to keep showing up with intention in this 6,570 days of the Parenthood Childhood Experience, because they need you. All right, everyone, have a great week.